Welcome to AI World TV, your go-to destination for everything artificial intelligence. Discover the captivating landscape of AI, where advanced technology finds real-life application. Subscribe to AI World TV for webzine articles, reports, podcasts, videos, live events, and latest trends. Hear from top industry leaders and discover how AI is transforming industries and our daily lives.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a concept that might sound a bit dry, maybe a bit like legal theory. Fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah, but it's suddenly become, well, maybe one of the most urgent ethical questions in technology today. It really is the new trust frontier.
And why now?
Well, it's because of the sheer scale and speed of artificial intelligence, isn't it? I mean, classically, fiduciary duty is pretty straightforward. It's that legal and ethical promise to always act in someone else's best interest.
Right, like your financial advisor acting for you, or maybe a corporate board protecting shareholder assets.
Exactly. It demands loyalty, care, prudence, these core principles.
That makes sense when you're talking about a person, a human being making those promises. But, our sources are showing that AI is now woven into pretty much every corner of modern decision-making.
It really is.
And it's not just like calculating odds anymore. These systems are often making the final call. Algorithms are deciding who gets a job interview, who gets that loan modification, maybe even which medical procedure gets recommended.
And these decisions are happening instantaneously, often with minimal human review, if any.
Precisely. And that exponential speed, well, it introduces this huge tension.
Because if an algorithm built on, millions of lines of code and these massive data sets makes a catastrophic error.
Like what? Give us a scenario.
Okay, say a flawed robo-advisor just wipes out a client's retirement savings. Or a faulty healthcare model denies a critical diagnosis.
Right. Who carries that legal and ethical fiduciary burden then?
That's the question. Is it the organization that deployed the system? Is it the developer who wrote the initial code? Or are we now somehow assigning moral, even legal responsibility to the non-human logic of the system itself?
That is the absolute core conflict we're diving into today because, as you said, AI systems aren't just passive analytical tools anymore.
No, they've become active participants in fiduciary relationships. They're making decisions that inherently require trust.
Which is why the sources use that specific term, algorithmic fiduciaries.
Exactly. They aren't just, say, filing taxes based on rules. They're actively managing risk assets outcomes.
Can you give some more real-world examples?
Sure. Look at robo-advisors. They handle billions in retirement funds now. Or AI-driven insurance models determining complex risk profiles, setting premiums.
And healthcare, too, you mentioned.
Yes, predictive healthcare systems making recommendations that can be genuinely life-altering. These platforms ingest incredibly sensitive data, analyze it, and then make decisions that directly affect people's lives and their livelihoods.
Okay, hold on a minute, though. If AI lacks consciousness, lacks actual intent, why are we even talking about giving it some kind of fiduciary status?
This is a fair question.
Why can't we just regulate the people, the ones who write the code or the corporate execs who deploy it? Why invent this, legal fiction for the software?
Well, that's the critical sticking point, isn't it? We are regulating the people, of course, but the sheer complexity and, frankly, the opacity of modern AI, especially deep learning, means that even the human creators often can't fully trace or predict every decision the system will make in every scenario.
I see.
The system acts based on its own trained logic. So the accountability has to extend somehow to the instrument that's making the decision.
So the ethical concern here goes way beyond just technical accuracy.
Absolutely.
It's fundamentally about intent and accountability, even though the AI itself is just math. It lacks moral reasoning, yet its outputs are totally bound by ethical standards when they're dealing with our money or our health.
And this really elevates the standard required for any company using these systems. Our sources are very clear about this. There's a dual obligation every company deploying AI now faces.
Okay, what's the first part?
First, there's the technical responsibility.
Yeah.
Ensuring your models are transparent, explainable, and rigorously tested for harmful bias. That's the baseline.
Okay, technical responsibility. Got it. And the second part of that dual obligation?
That's the ethical responsibility. And this is crucial. It demands that the algorithms must be structurally designed to serve the user's best interest, the client, the patient, the individual person, and not just, say, the company's profits or its internal efficiencies.
Okay, let's try a concrete example to really contrast those two. Say I have an AI system processing loan applications.
Yeah.
Technically, it could be perfect, right? Uses clean data, it's 100% accurate, processes things super fast, no racial or gender bias detected. A real technical marvel.
It's great technically, but
If that technically perfect AI is optimized only to recommend loan products that maximize the bank's internal fee structure, even when there's a cheaper, non-proprietary product out there that would be objectively better for me, the client.
then it has violated its ethical responsibility. It's used efficiency to actually violate trust.
Wow, that distinction is absolutely crucial. And without that dual lens, the sources warn, AI risks becoming this kind of black box of trust.
Exactly. Where the focus on efficiency and speed just completely outweighs the ethical outcomes, the human well-being that the whole fiduciary relationship is supposed to protect in the first place.
So if we accept that these AI systems are active participants in trust relationships, we really have to revisit those classical pillars of fiduciary duty, don't we?
We absolutely do.
Loyalty, care, and good faith. How does the AI context force us to sort of redefine these foundational principles?
Well, we have to start with loyalty. Classically, loyalty means avoiding all conflicts of interest. Pretty clear.
Right.
In the AI era, this means systems must be designed really from the ground up to act in the individual's best interest. But the challenge here is it can be quite insidious. Conflicts of interest are often embedded right into the algorithm's design objectives.
Embedded, give us an example of an embedded conflict. How does that actually play out?
Okay, imagine an AI mortgage brokerage system. If that system is subtly weighted, maybe in ways that aren't obvious, to prioritize showing the user the bank's own proprietary loan products?
Which might carry a higher commission for the bank.
Precisely. Even if there's an objectively superior loan available from a third party, but the algorithm pushes the in-house product. That's a violation of loyalty. The algorithm is essentially financially incentivized to maximize the company's profit margin, not the user's optimal financial outcome.
That systemic prioritization of company gain over the user's outcome, that's the new, really dangerous conflict of interest we need to watch for.
That's exactly it.
That fundamentally changes what we even mean by a design objective. The design itself has to embody the ethical duty. Okay, let's move to the second pillar, care.
Right. Care. Care demands comprehensive due diligence. In the world of AI, this means rigorous diligence across really 3 distinct stages: the data collection, the model training itself, and then the deployment.
And the sources emphasize that just being careless with biased or unverified data.
Even if it's done accidentally, it can cause measurable real-world harm.
That's quite sobering, isn't it? It means carelessness in just choosing a data set could now destroy someone's credit score or deny them access to necessary health care based on a flaw nobody ever physically intended or even touched.
Precisely. And carelessness in data processing absolutely erodes public trust. If a company fails, say, to check whether its training data accurately reflects the demographic it serves,
Leading to
maybe consistently lower loan approvals for a particular minority group, that's a failure of due diligence. That's a failure of care, even if the company genuinely lacked malicious intent.
Which brings us to the third pillar, good faith. This usually hinges on honesty, on transparency. How can an opaque algorithm, a black box, possibly satisfy that requirement?
That's the challenge. Good faith mandates transparency in operations. Users have to understand not just that a decision was made by AI, but when and how it was made by a machine.
So companies need to be much more open.
Yes, fully open about the data they used, the performance metrics they prioritized in the model, and, importantly, the limitations of their system. This shift means AI governance can't just be a technical compliance step anymore.
It has to become core corporate ethic.
Exactly, and this reinterpretation of duty.
Yeah.
It has massive implications right up to the boardroom.
How so?
Well, just as we audit financial statements for accuracy and compliance, the source makes this powerful argument that AI systems must now be rigorously audited for fairness and accountability.
Audited for fairness. I like that analogy. So if we follow that logic, boards, C-level executives, they need to stop seeing AI only as a cost-saving tech.
Right.
And start treating it as a fiduciary instrument, a system that inherently carries obligations of trust and legal responsibility.
That's the phrase the source uses, fiduciary instrument.
Yeah.
It captures that inherent obligation.
But how do non-technical boards actually enforce compliance on these incredibly complex systems they probably can't fully understand?
You are listening to the AI World Podcast, your trusted source for the latest innovations, insights, and trends in artificial intelligence, blockchain, fintech, and decentralized technologies. Each episode features expert interviews, engaging discussions, and in-depth analysis of how AI transforms industries worldwide. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest articles and exclusive reports from the AI World Journal, covering everything from emerging technologies to industry breakthroughs. For more news, global events, and access to AI World Society circle gatherings, visit us at aiworld.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed, stay connected, and be part of the AI revolution with AI World Lounge. Thank you for listening.
Understand themselves. That seems like a huge practical hurdle.
It is. It's a major hurdle. And that's why we're starting to see more progressive companies establishing things like AI ethics and responsibility committees.
Are these just for show, or do they have real teeth?
Well, ideally, they aren't just for show. They're designed to oversee risk management, proactively detect that embedded bias we talked about, and ensure compliance with emerging global standards.
Like what kind of standards?
We're talking about major frameworks like the European Union's EU AI Act, which is huge. It categorizes AI risk levels and imposes specific transparency obligations based on that risk. And also the US-based NIST AI Risk Management Framework, which provides really actionable steps for managing risks throughout the entire AI lifecycle.
That shift, making governance proactive, not reactive, it sends a really powerful signal, doesn't it? That the company's priority is genuinely, our AI serves people first.
It's intended to, yes.
Yeah. But let's drill down into transparency, because you mentioned it earlier, and that feels like where the rubber really meets the road. What does true transparency mean here? It can't just be publishing the source code, right? That's proprietary and, frankly, incomprehensible to most people.
You're absolutely right. True transparency isn't just technical disclosure. It's about making these complex, often opaque systems comprehensible and accountable to non-technical stakeholders, the actual people whose lives are being affected by these decisions.
Okay.
The source is very clear that we need tools for this, not just policies on a shelf.
So what are those practical tools? What do we actually need for that level of accountability?
Okay, first, clear documentation of the training data, including what biases or limitations might be inherent in that data. That needs to be upfront.
Right. Makes sense.
Second, disclosure built right into the user interface. So you, the user, know immediately when a machine, not a person, made the call on your loan application or your insurance quote.
No hidden algorithms.
No hidden algorithms making key decisions without your knowledge. Third, and this is key, the establishment of AI explainability tools. Tools that allow end users to get a simple, understandable reason for why an algorithm reached a particular outcome.
And crucially,
allow them to contest that decision if it seems wrong or unfair. There needs to be a mechanism for appeal.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we're seeing regulatory bodies worldwide starting to actively align AI oversight with these kinds of established fiduciary concepts. It feels like they're moving fast to catch up.
Absolutely. The legal momentum is definitely accelerating. The EU AI Act, as we mentioned, introduces explicit legal obligations around data governance, transparency, risk classification.
And in the U.S.?
In the United States, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, which oversees financial markets, is already exploring pretty stringent new rules. They're aimed at holding financial firms directly accountable for algorithmic mismanagement and those embedded conflicts of interest we discussed.
This whole regulatory drive, it seems to be pushing legal scholars toward this concept you mentioned earlier, algorithmic fiduciaries, as a formal legal idea.
Yes, potentially as formal legal entities. Systems or the organizations behind them being legally bound to act in the best interest of the individuals affected by their AI.
Wow. That is a fundamental, potentially massive shift.
It really is. It moves the whole compliance focus from just asking, is this legal, to questioning, is this right, in an ethical sense, trying to anticipate harm rather than just reacting after the fact.
But the ultimate responsibility, as our sources seem to conclude, it goes beyond just drafting new rules and regulations, doesn't it?
It does.
It requires a fundamental cultural transformation within organizations, moving the main metric of success away from just pure efficiency.
To one driven by empathy, by human well-being. That needs to become the guide star.
And how does that happen in practice?
Well, this cultural shift really demands interdisciplinary collaboration. Your data scientists can't work in isolation anymore. They have to partner directly with ethicists. Designers need to work with sociologists.
So it's not about slowing down innovation.
Not necessarily. The result isn't slower innovation, it's sustainable innovation. Innovation that's built explicitly on a foundation of trust. And frankly, companies that embrace this early, they likely gain a competitive advantage.
Why?
Because transparency and accountability are rapidly becoming the most valuable currencies in the entire AI economy. Trust is paramount.
Okay, so to try and synthesize this whole deep dive, the fiduciary responsibility, it was once kind of limited to a few specific high trust professions, right? Lawyers, bankers, trustees. Today, that same ethical and legal responsibility belongs just as much to AI architects, data scientists, and the corporate leaders who deploy these incredibly powerful systems.
Because at the end of the day, AI is no longer just a tool. It is now, effectively, a trustee of trust.
That really is the simple truth at the heart of this incredibly complex issue. And it leads us to our final provocative question for you, the listener, to consider. If we accept this idea of algorithmic fiduciaries, we have to acknowledge that any AI system designed purely for efficiency might implicitly reward the company over the client, right? Say, if it reduces the company's operating costs, but doesn't pass those savings onto the user in any way.
Interesting point.
So, how might the definition of conflict of interest need to fundamentally change? What if the new fiduciary standard explicitly forbids that kind of company profit prioritization when it leads to suboptimal client outcomes? Specifically, what algorithmic practices like maximizing an internal commission through product suggestions should the new standard explicitly outlaw? Something to mull on until our next deep dive.
The future of artificial intelligence is unfolding. And it's happening at AI World Week, the flagship global event for innovation, collaboration, and transformation. This flagship global AI event is designed to connect visionary leaders, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and influential thinkers to explore the endless possibilities of AI. Experience groundbreaking technology that redefines industries and inspires progress. Join thought-provoking discussions on ethical AI, digital equity, and the transformative role of technology in our world. Build meaningful connections that catalyze innovation and drive impact. AI World Week is powered by AI World Society, a global movement dedicated to advancing AI responsibly and ensuring it serves humanity. Together, we're shaping a smarter, more inclusive, and equitable future. Continue your journey beyond the event with the AI World Journal, offering expert insights, in-depth analysis, and the latest trends shaping the AI landscape. This is your opportunity to lead, to innovate, and to transform the world with AI. AI World Week. We invite you to join us and embrace the AI revolution.